Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FC Dynamo Brest 2017 qualifier. We are here for the final game of this qualifier. It's as simple as this. The winner of this best of three will make it to the LAN finals in Minsk, Belarus, and get to compete for a part of that $40,000 prize pool. My name is Hawker, joined by Sir Danny to bring you the action. And I don't know about you, Danny, but I'm very excited for this game. I think this could be a very hotly contested matchup.
It could be. It honestly could be. I mean, Kinguin, they're not the best team on Inferno. Let's put it at that. They are definitely not a solid team on Inferno. Seed seems to be performing relatively good on this map. Seems to be the new iteration of the sort of German plus one Finn and one Pole lineup. Seems to be favoring Inferno in a lot of matchups they do tend to play. So it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to pick this map. Kinguin, I would still rate them the better team, but Seed, they had a relatively good performance even in the DreamHack Open qualifiers that didn't happen too long ago.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Inferno is that Kinguin used to play this map a fair bit, but they've recently been banning it very, very often. They haven't played Inferno since the 3rd of September. And as for Seed, they've looked pretty good on this map. I don't think it's necessarily one of their best maps, but it looks like they've kind of picked this based on the fact that Kinguin seem to be banning it a lot recently. And sure, Seed themselves have some good results. They beat WASD 16-14 in this very tournament, so that's certainly a good performance. That's one of WASD's good maps, so certainly expecting Seed to take this first map, but then heading into Mirage, the second one, I can't look past Kinguin, and then I think we could end up going to the decider. It'll be very interesting to see if that is indeed the case, though, as we head underway here for the pistol.
I guess the good thing here for Kinguin is that they're at least going to be playing on a bit better side, on the CT side of Inferno. And if they've played the map beforehand, as you mentioned, before September, so to speak, so they should know how to play the CT side of Inferno relatively well. I'm wondering what the pistol round is going to be. The pistol round is going to be quite interesting. It's a bit of a mishmash of a push towards middle, but at the same time, look at the setup towards B. This is where Seed is heading at, but this is where the majority of the Kinguin players are at, and the positions are looking relatively nice. Miku picking up one in mid-air of all places, and Mouse is doing such a good job, and heck, if that is something to prove upon, is that Kinguin picking up a pistol round so convincingly is quite the interesting factor.
Alrighty then, the B-hold is very strong from Kinguin. Malz gets himself 3 headshots, and the rest of Kinguin follows suit with Rallen and Miku picking up 1 each. And just want to point out as well, in this qualifier so far, Miku and Malz are 2 of the top 3 rated players. They've been really, really good for Kinguin, and we are already going to see that come through as they take that first pistol and see themselves. Well, they do go for the force buy, and Dennis has already got that first headshot with the Deagle. We didn't quite see where that was, but I believe it was in towards mid to open things up. So Kinguin will, of course, have to be a little bit careful, as Kappa himself does win a fight with that UMP. So it's just going to be the 4 Deagles left for Seed to see what they can do. And without the utility, it's just going to be all about those headshots for Seed.
Absolutely, as they have the Deagles in hand. Dennis, the timing could not have been worse for him. I think he was ready to pop a head there of Miku, but that's not meant to be. As he's still having Speedy and Innocent, which of the 2 players are still alive here. I mean, what can they do in a situation like this? It's obviously just try to get some frags if possible. Speedy and Co. Still watching from behind, expecting for maybe an eerie City player who might be trying to push up here, but Seed, they're actually getting the timings here right. They're gonna go towards B. This is some slick stuff from them, but Rallen somehow only rattling the shots, but not really doing an impact here. And now Capper, he is alone on the bomb side. And in a round like this, Speed and Innocent, they gotta stick together, and they should be even able in a position to plant the bomb. Capper goes for the fight. Unnecessary, I'll say, but at least he wins it. And Speedy with the FAMAS in hand. Capper going for the pop flash right there, but it's not really effective. Mouse somehow left in a 1 versus 1 against Speedy.
Speedy needs to be careful here because Mouse is coming from A long. Here comes the peak, and Speedy, not Dennis, comes out on top. It's going to be the round going the way of Seed, and I was not expecting Speedy to get that headshot there. I think you saw how he caught me that much off guard because I even called him Dennis for a second there. But Seed do take the round. They get themselves the bomb plant as well. And of course, Kinguin are going to be forced back down to a force by themselves. So very nice headshot coming out from Spiddy. And considering that was a 2v4, Seed did such a great job at finding those headshots to get themselves back into the round. A little bit of good timing, but it worked out in their favour. And so now Kinguin are just going to have pistols alongside the single FAMAS for Kappa into this third round. And should be fairly easy for Seed. So you see Spiddy just tapping away in towards Apps, but not going to see too much to start things off.
Absolutely, some great stuff there from Seed in the round previously, but you simply cannot neglect the fact mistakes Kinguin made there. You know, Rallen somehow not killing a guy that wasn't even looking at him, and in that sort of I think it was still a 3 versus 2 capper. It was playing on the bomb side. I'd say he should have played a bit more passively, wait for his teammates to come in for the rotate, then try to get a kill, not the other way around there. But yeah, see, they do pick up the round. I can't take that away from them. And as they are creeping towards Banana, it seems to be like it's going to be the B hit.
And there are already 3 Kinguin players here, and more importantly, a 4th rotating over. This could be very difficult for Seed. 38 seconds, and it's good to see them lining up the nades. This will make the push much, much easier, but Mouse himself will throw the counter flash, and they're all blind. The push comes in, and Mouse gets the 1 frag. Here comes the push from the rest of the AKs, though, making their way forwards, and Spiro is caught out in the open. So as the push makes its way forwards towards the site, despite Kinguin having plenty of players here, they just get taken out one by one. Rallen did go pushing through the smoke there to deny the bomb plant, but with 12 seconds left, in comes Zane, securing it with the FAMAS. So it's going to be Seed just about taking the B site, despite running into the stack. Very good utility usage there. The smokes come in to make sure there is no chance for Kinguin to really take too many close-range fights. And so Seed will be able to close out the round, and they will not fall for the force like Kinguin did after winning their pistol.
And that, of course, is going to lead to Seed to possibly acquire another round here on the terrorist side, as they're going to be facing a Kinguin team that has got barely any sort of utility weaponry, and so to speak, of armor around like this. That's just going to be easy frags there for Innocent, and also Dennis timing in. And I do believe Dennis got killed by Speedy, huh?
Yep.
Okay, then. That was not supposed to happen, but in the end, it's going to be Seed. They're going to be claiming a round here, a relatively easy round. If there would not have been a team kill, that would have been a perfect round from them, but apparently the team kill did come through. So, I mean, Speedy, he did win that force buy for them, so let's not take away too much from him. But now as Kinguin do go for the investment, oddly enough, Rallen has forgot to purchase armor. Now, that was not according to plan, I'd say, from his point of view.
Yeah, so firstly, Rallen doesn't buy armor, and then Mihu gets a little love tap from his teammate, down to 87 HP with the knife in the back. Not going to be too much of an issue. I'm sure he will just be focusing on the frags. The Seed themselves do have the AWP in the hands of Crystal. He has been the primary AWPer for this team since they have come together, and Crystal's been kind of up and down for me, so I'd like to see how he plays here. As Seed look to find him the entry, but Crystal will not be able to find anything. He gets flashed off the corner towards top mid. Still going to try and hold this one through, but it looks like Kinguin are again going to play fairly safe on the A site. And so Seed will be forced to push forwards if they want to try and find that opening kill. It looks like they might just go forwards here, using a fair amount of utility early on. Spiro will be the first line of defense. With 58 seconds left on the clock, in come a couple of smokes over the top. Spiro applies with one of his own, and he's going to go aggressive here, but the flash denies any chance of that aggression, so Spiro will now fall back. As for Seed, well, they've made their way back towards Banana, and Mihu might just be rotating off the B site at the wrong time here. Seed could be having success on this B play.
And how could they? Honestly, with them sort of acquiring that mid control, they bamboozle, so to speak, the Kinguin side. Now they're going to be going for this push. There are at least 2 CTs here, which is nice. Mouse does get caught through there, and for some odd reason, Mihu, I wouldn't say that push was of great necessity, but will the bomb be planted? Don't worry about that. Seed is gotta be punching in the numbers, and as they are punching in those numbers, Kinguin will possibly, I'd say he's still gonna try to go for this one, maybe try to get a frag, but as they do notice, the smokes are very much blocking their vision, so the right choice seems to be Nico, especially as Rowland, him not having an armor, he's gonna be like a bullet sponge in that sort of scenario. Aim punch would be way too strong if even a couple of those AK bullets do hit him in the chest. So see, they're going to be acquiring a relatively nice round, I must admit. They do start off the round relatively slowly. They do take mid presence in a way, but they don't use it like go for a straight up B split like through Arch. No, they just take it. They leave the CTT guessing, and then they just regroup towards the B part of the map, towards Banana. Then they go for the execute, and it works out. I mean, the trades go in their favor. It's down to a free versus free, but the CTs, they realize their chances are relatively slim. They don't have defuse kits, and thus they retreat, save the guns, but it's another investment here for Kinguin.
Yeah, retaking the B site is especially difficult, so I can kind of understand that, especially when Crystal had the AWP. He could have just watched that long-range angle over towards CT. And so now Kinguin will get the buy for this next round. But of course, this is going to be a fairly important round as Rallen nearly gets himself an opening kill. But it's just going to be a bit of damage. In the meantime, look at Dennis pushing through the smoke. All by his lonesome there. I would have assumed Seed would want to have some support for him, but instead Dennis will be going down first. So now the question is, what does Seed want to do? Because they are already at a man disadvantage from a somewhat questionable play, we'll just say.
Yeah, let's put it at that. A somewhat of a questionable play there, but as we're now going to be taking a quick gander here. Terror side team looks like they're going to be ready to again hit this A bomb side. They're getting up, they're ready for it. It looks like they're not going to be using too much of that utility here, as they do have some of those smokes, but the only smoke that has been thrown is apparently towards Arch, and there are 3 CTs on towards short. They gotta be careful here, Seed. Surely Kinguin, they could and probably will find themselves some relative positions, and when the push will come through, I guess you could be favoring the Germans here.
Yeah, 33 seconds means they will have to commit sooner rather than later. With the time ticking away, still no push coming out from Seed. They're going to be forced to overwhelm this A site with 3 players still holding. Kappa goes down first, but the incendiary will slow things down. The time certainly is a factor now, and you can see Seed trying to make their way forwards. Here comes Zane trying to get the entry, but instead it's Innocent running in with the AK. And so they do find a very clean take of the A site. Although Mihu will get 1 kill back, so it's still a 2 versus 3 retake. And I think at this point Kinguin have to go for this one, but Spiro already ends up falling. And as I was saying, I understand the save from the previous round because they could get the force together, but saving only 2 guns here wouldn't have been enough, so I think they had to attempt the retake. However, it's not going to happen. Mihu is forced to save. And see there, they could have been in real trouble. If they didn't get those quick entries, time certainly would have been a factor. But they managed to take the A site incredibly quickly, finding all 3 kills. And that made all the difference for Seed as they come off to a very strong start. 5-1 up, and now they are in control of the economy.
Absolutely, and yes, as you just mentioned previously, the retake, it was possible from the CT side team, especially as they had a guy coming in from library and a guy that could have flanked through apps. I think that was the main goal for one of the CT players right there. The problem is the library guy dies way too quick, and I mean way too early. Thus, the retake does get very, and I mean very difficult for the player who is on the flank. A weapon saved yet again here for Kinguin, and as the maximum lose money bonus is upon them, they're still going to be having money for investment. No eco just yet from the Poles, but now they do have the op on Sparrow. Now, I'm wondering how is he going to utilize it. He is towards the middle, but the problem is Crystal will be taking down Mouse out of the equation, so this does force off a retake from one of the players of Kinguin.
It was a little bit awkward over towards Banana. Dennis nearly taken down by the nade at the end there, but he stays alive on a slither of health. And so now Kinguin decide they are not comfortable leaving only 1 player on the B site. Spiro will come over with the AWP. And that might be good for the hold here, because this is a fairly easy angle to play from. Although previously, when Seed took that site, they certainly had the smokes lined up. They smoked off that position in towards Coffin. So that could leave Spiro in a slightly tough spot in terms of whether he wants to push the smoke. But that will not be an issue this round because the push instead is going to come towards the A site. And Rallam right now is kind of in no man's land. He's holding this angle towards top mid, but he's not going to get the kill. Crystal himself comes out on top with the AWP. And so now Kappa has it all to do, swinging out, but he's just not going to find anything. So many players waiting around the corner. And again, that A site is going to be taken without too much resistance from Kinguin. This is going to be them going 6-1 down, and I'm sure this is not the start they were looking for here on Inferno.
Definitely. If you're the team playing on the CT side, you do expect to get maybe not necessarily a good start, but start picking up rounds. It's sort of the mid portion of the first half, but really, the thing is though, Kinguin looking relatively lackluster. You know, they're trying to go for these individual engagements, but really, they're just not working out here for the Polish side. Seed, I'm even quite surprised to see them performing at such a level here on Inferno. Not to say that it's anything astonishing from their side, but they got some of that basic teamwork going in here, and the individuals are also stepping up, so that is just credit for Seed more than anything else. And them trying to save the weaponry here on different parts of the map, it's probably not going to be the greatest of ideas. A Sparrow, in fact, is going to get wallbanged there by Crystal in the end, so that's the op. Not safe for the Kinguin side. They do have that one AK, but honestly, even having the lonesome AK not going to mean much. And yeah, they're going to be taking a pause here, Kinguin. I absolutely understand this from their point of view, as really things aren't going their way.
Yeah, I think something to point out as well. I don't like pointing out when players are performing poorly to start a map, but I think this is relevant on Inferno. The fact that Spiro is yet to accomplish anything with that AWP is a big issue in my opinion, because you'll see quite a few teams even go for double AWPs. I think it was FaZe even who really started out the double AWPs on the CT side of Inferno, and a lot of people maybe think that that's not fully necessary, but certainly the single AWP can do a lot of damage. You can play over towards Banana, and oftentimes you will have your AWP solo holding Banana to allow a rotate back towards A. That's always a possibility, but if Spiro's not going to be on form to start this game off, you don't really want him solo holding Banana, because that could be an issue if he doesn't land those shots. They could lose the B site quickly, so that's something that could become a problem for Kinguin if he can't step his game up. But we are going to see Kinguin in this round decide it's finally time for a low buy. After getting together a fair few forces, they're going to have to just go for the CZs alongside the saved AK. And Mihu will be trying to take some opening fights here towards CT with the AK in hand. And the stack towards the B site could have some success because Seed are currently leaning towards Banana. But again, still plenty of time for them to sort of probe towards the site, see if they spot anyone out, and then sort of reevaluate if the B site is indeed the correct decision.
For the time being, if you're a Seed, you're just trying to make sure that there are no sort of funky pushes there from the Kinguin side. I think Seed realizes the fact that Kinguin doesn't have much to work with here. If they would have, probably already, utility would have been deployed, for instance, towards middle, towards Banana. They haven't seen it, so Kinguin, with rocking those pistols, are gonna try to put their chances in one basket. That basket being the B bomb side. It could work out for them, as Seed is now gonna go for this push. They are gonna be prepping the mollies though, so that's I guess the good thing for them. But there's Miku with the same AK of all weapons, so Kinguin might just have a fighting chance here. But it looks of it, the chance is very much upon them, as now Speedy 3 points of health and now 0 points of health. The stack works out beautifully there for Kinguin. And Seed, I mean, you can't really analyze that. They just try to go for a push on a bomb set that has got 4 players standing. I mean, it's just difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I was kind of saying earlier, they had plenty of time to sort of try and get some information towards the sites. That's what I was expecting to see from Seed. I was expecting a couple of players to try and work their way up Banana and see if they could spot anyone out. However, instead, we kind of just saw them sit back towards Banana and wait to see if any aggression was going to come out. And so they didn't gain the information and were forced to go for the push. And Crystal himself is forced to go for the push to try and get the opening, but he goes down first. Dennis does recover the AWP, but he takes a chunk of his life from that nade. And with the smoke coming in, I think he will decide to fall back. Although Spiddy's going to stick around towards top mid. The flash comes in, but he's not going to be successful in finding the frag back. So Crystal tries to force the issue but goes down first. Spiro finally showing up as he wins that AWP battle. And Kinguin looking good to be able to hold off this A play if it were to come through, especially as Rowland does a little bit more damage before the push comes in.
After all, Crystal is the operator. He needs to try to go for these engagements, so he does try to go for one. But hey, it doesn't work out. I mean, Sparrow is able to get that frag, and so Seed, they are in a man disadvantage. At least Dennis recovers the op, so he just might be the second man trying to get a frag here as he is creeping in slowly but surely. He is gonna try to find a frag here. The problem is, though, I mean, there are free CTC close by. Speedy, they haven't made a lot of noise here, Steve, so I guess that's a saving grace for them. But now the push does commence. Sparrow might try to go for the peek here, but Round still on the side doing some heavy damage. Sparrow still not going for the sort of peek there right now. The Terracide team are probably going to be planting the bomb. Speedy with a crucial frag on the capper. And now Mouse and Sparrow. In fact, Sparrow is going to drop dead. Okay, then Kinguin. You're probably thinking they should be the ones to take a round like this. Especially after the initial frag, but now things kind of crumble here, and Seed pick up their 7th.
Yeah, a little bit surprising to see Kinguin not have too much success on the hold there. It was a fairly good push from Seed, though. They made their way towards the site. However, at the same time, you kind of saw the man back in towards Library couldn't really support the players on the bomb site itself. They didn't really have those crossfires lined up. And so that means that Kinguin kind of just lose those one-on-one fights and lose the bomb site because of it. And so now, Kinguin are going to be heavily reliant on these two AWPs. One for Malz, one for Spiro, while a couple of their other players only have pistols. So a little bit of disparity in the buy on the CT side of things. You can already see Mihu pushing down Banana. Not sure if Dennis would expect him to be so close. In the meantime, the player who was falling back with the AWP in Banana is flashed off the angle. However, Dennis is just going to go pushing out through top mid, and he's found the one gap in the defense towards A long. This could now allow them to open up this A site entirely. Great read from Seed. They're going to make their way forwards, but Spiro does get the one kill there. Auto Director kind of sucking, but there we go. Mihu himself finds another frag, so Kinguin have a real shot at this round now, especially as Kappa gets another kill. All of a sudden, there's only 2 Seed players left after the bomb goes down.
And you could also see the positioning from them is not the greatest. In fact, both the players are going to be sticking with each other, which honestly I completely understand. I think for them to play maybe towards Pit would have been a nice choice, but Crystal, I must admit, I'm not quite sure what he was doing right there. And now Dennis is probably going to get spotted out by Mihu. And if that is the way the round's going to go, then I'm sorry, Seed. That was quite dissatisfying to watch, especially in the end there. I mean, they were in a 2 versus 4, and I think if the players there from Seed, they try to go for those engagements towards short, I don't blame them. I mean, that's a wise choice to be doing. If you are able to get the frags, then it's not that bad. But then they try to back away, and that is where things kind of crumble. I mean, the players are coming in from Library, as well as Apps and Seed. They do get overwhelmed. So right now, a tactical pause being called out by Seed. I'd say that's quite surprising. You know, they're very much in the lead, 7-3, but I'm guessing it's not maybe as much of a tactical pause as, okay, guys, we gotta come down. You know, that rounds like that can really screw up your momentum. So I do understand why Seed do decide to go for the pause. They might discuss also what they might want to accomplish in the upcoming rounds as well. So it's relatively good pause, I must admit. But Kinguin, you know, they're on the City side. They really could use a couple more rounds here.
Again, the double AWPs for Kinguin. Malz will go over towards Banana, which is what we've seen so far. In the meantime, I think Spiro had a decent spawn for mid, so he might go for the peek early on. Indeed, he will. Just going to hold the angle passively, as does Crystal on the other side of things, but neither player will go any further. So this time, the AWPs won't fight each other at the initial stages. We're just going to see both teams sit back. You can also see Malz towards Banana, not deciding to hold in towards Banana itself, instead falling back to the site. And so we're going to see both AWPs really from the CT side play quite safe, which is somewhat surprising. Here comes the flash towards Banana, and Seed will gain some ground. So again, good job from Seed to be able to gain Banana so easily every round. They realise that Kinguin aren't really committing too much, whereas you might see some other teams sort of molly down and make sure they can try and push players forwards. But Kinguin have been fairly willing to play from the site, and so it's good for Seed to take away Banana and kind of make it more difficult for Kinguin to have the full information. And so now with 58 seconds left, Seed might have to make a decision soon, but for the time being, they're not really committing anywhere just yet.
And it's also a bit problematic here for the CTs that are on the B bomb side because they had utility previously, but now they pretty much wasted all of it. And as there's 40 seconds on the clock, looks like Seed is just gonna execute here. They're already deploying that utility. Sparrow is coming in with the op. It's gonna be a bit too late right now. He's gonna be out of the action, but we're already seeing there's a player in the midst of the smoke. He's gonna get spotted out. There's also a gap in the smoke. Seed are now falling. Sparrow picking up 2 massive frags for the team, and as the bomb will be planted, there's still Miko on the side somehow surviving. And now Crystal up against 3 of those CTs, and apparently not anymore. I must admit, I'm not quite sure what happened there from Seed. As they did deploy the smoke towards CD spawn, there was a gap that apparently allowed Sparrow to acquire 2 frags, and definitely that was not supposed to happen.
Yeah, firstly, there was the gap in the smoke, and yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's not great, obviously, but that's obvious as to why the first man went down. But then the rest of Seed didn't really clear the site. You saw there Miku was the key man. He was just sitting back behind triple box. And so Seed did not clear his position whatsoever. He just swung out, killed the bomb planter just after the bomb went down. And that really just compiled onto the issues that Seed had in that round. They didn't really have the site control fully in their favor. And so now, heading into round 12, we will still see Seed go for the buy, but they're not going to have the AWP for Crystal. They are going to miss an AK on towards Spiddy. Still, however, a decent enough buy, you would think, for them to be able to compete in the round. However, look at this. Kinguin already have 4 players stacked to the A site. This is quite a big risk, considering Mouse is playing on the B site itself, so he won't have full information. However, at the same time, it looks like the A stack is the correct read from Kinguin, because Seed already leaning towards the A play, and this could go horribly wrong for them if they're not careful.
Things could get messy. Things could truly get messy here for Seed as they're pushing up to 4 CTs here. Apparently one of them is going to drop the second one as well. So apparently this defense isn't holding off so well. Miku will be taking at least one more out of the equation. But look at Mouse and Sparrow. I wouldn't say they're too far away from the action, but right now, I mean, they could try to go for this one. But the thing is, they're up against 4 of those T's, and they're going to be having crossfires. And with those crossfires being set up, it's just going to be so difficult for the Kinguin boys to even think of the retake. So, a save. I think a save is going to get called on upon us. If they are able to save the weapons right here, they still should have a decent amount of money to, you know what, actually invest here in the first half right here. Seed will be acquiring their 8th, but at the same time, you know, that was admittedly a very nice push from them.
And I'm sure Kinguin will be a little bit frustrated with that one, because as we were kind of saying earlier, they made the correct read. They had 4 players stacked on towards that A site. That's a really big risk to take. So if you take that risk and it is successful in terms of predicting the push, you absolutely have to be holding on to the site there, because imagine if the push came towards the B site with Mouse solo holding there with an AWP. That would have been so tough for him to hold off. So you have to have a really good hold on the A site, and that just didn't come through. You saw there, the players in towards A short couldn't really work with each other all that well. There was a man back at pit, I think, who couldn't really assist his teammates. And then the 2 players holding off an A long were kind of also holding by themselves. You saw Spiro was all the way back in library. He couldn't really get too much done from that position. And so Seed were kind of just able to find some fairly easy fights for themselves on towards the players at short. They kind of isolated the Kinguin players. And so now Kinguin, they will elect to go for the force buy. You can already see a fair few rifles bought up. They do actually have the money for pretty much a full buy, just a couple of nades missing. So that's not too bad, but heading into the 13th round, they are going to have to be careful that they have money still for the end of the half, as we see already. Miku going towards Banana, but the molly forces him back in the meantime. Spiro takes a shot from his teammate. Okay, not very nice there, but it's only 7 points of damage, so not too big of a deal. And that is the only damage we have seen to start off this round, apart from Mihu also taking a bit from the molly.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how on earth was the player watching the angle if in the end he actually hits his teammate right there. I mean, take a look at the minimap from time to time. At the same time, I guess say Seed, you know, they're kind of dwindling the clock here. They really haven't accomplished much, but right now they're actually going to be taking apps control. And with apps control, I mean, they might try to go for a similar execute they tried previously. That explosive way they executed now, just rushing onto the bomb site. Problem was, or at least it should have been for Seed, the fact that Kinguin had 4 players on the site. This time around, they again have 4 players. Will the execute work out? I mean, that's a question mark. The flash, though. Rowland, that was a perfect flash, but yet he still doesn't decide to get the kills, huh? But Rowland, and look at this. Miku and Sparrow, all the players getting frags. Finally, something working out here for Kinguin, and it looks like it's going to be a solid victory at that.
Yeah, unless Crystal has anything to say about it, and he will not. Miku manages to get that headshot despite Crystal firing off a couple of shots first. And I don't think there was too much to that round for Kinguin there. This time they had the 4 players stacked on the A sites, and this time they win those opening engagements. You saw this time they were also pushed sort of fairly aggressively out towards balcony to make sure they cut off the aggression coming out from apartments. And that made things a lot easier for the players actually holding the other positions. The fact that they had apartments on lockdown, and ooh, Spiro lands a leg shot, but not quite the kill on towards Innocent. There go the double nades, and a second frag there for Miku. Innocent is also low on health, and he needs to be careful down towards T ramp. The flash is going to come through. In the meantime, Spiddy gets himself a headshot over towards the A side of the map, and here goes Zane. The CZ gets another frag back. So out of nowhere, we go back to a 3 versus 3, and despite Kinguin's best efforts, it's still just an even position in terms of numbers, although look at the health on the Seed side, as Mouse himself plays aggressive on the edge of the smoke. But look at Spiddy's position. This could be critical in deciding this round.
Yes, he is low on HP, but he is on the flank, the big flank to be exact, as Capra, though, running up with a knife out. This, of course, means that Mouse has to look towards CT, as Speedy might try to go for these sort of picks here. The thing is, though, Mouse is going to challenge him, and Mouse is going to win the duel. So this kind of confirms the fact that Sparrow, he doesn't see anyone towards middle, or second mid to be in fact, so he's still going to play a bit more passively. Gotta be careful about this one, and Mouse is still going to be holding a relatively interesting angle. I don't think Zen apparently inspects it. I'm not quite sure how Mouse whiffs the shots, but this does put Zen in a 1 versus 1, a doable one at that.
Spiro has the AWP, so if he sticks with the AWP and misses a shot, there's every chance for Zane, but does Zane know where Spiro's coming from? He shouldn't really have any idea, so as the bomb goes down, Spiro's going to go pushing into the open, and he will just nail the shot, peeking out wide. Nice try from Zane there. He was trying to plant at the back of Fountain, which is a fairly open position, and so it was going to be always quite difficult for him to get back to cover trying to plant there, but of course he has to try and be as safe from as many angles as possible, so I do understand it. And Kinguin, they get themselves a couple of rounds here towards the end of this half. It looks like they're going to salvage themselves a decent enough CT side, assuming, of course, they do win this round, where Seed only have 4 pistols alongside the Galil. So this should be going the way of Kinguin, but you never know, especially in Inferno. There's a fair few close-range angles you can try and take fights in. So let's see if Kinguin can hold off. Already, Mouse gets the first over towards Banana, and with the 3 players stacked here, that will stop any aggression that Seed were attempting to go for.
I guess we could also point out the fact that it looks like Kinguin has been revitalized. You know, they're playing a bit more aggressive here. They're playing, I'd say, even with a bit more confidence. You know, Mouse going for that sort of peak. You could wonder that, oh, you know, that sort of peak is risky. It cannot work out for him, as he does push through the Molotov. In fact, he's able to get the kill and even retreat. So that, I'd say, is a confidence play from Kinguin. And confidence on the CD side as on the T side, it does matter here. Sparrow, like in a situation like this, Sparrow might try to land the shots here, and he might try to go for that sort of repick if he's got the confidence. But looks like Rowland, though, he's gonna be firing off a couple of shots here, also killing Zen. So now Kinguin, they might have a pretty decent read here on what's going on here, especially as Rowland could be spawning out the bomb here anytime soon, getting the kill, almost getting the kill. Crystal somehow will be getting that in the end. Miku gotta be careful here. He's got the backup of his teammates, but Innocent and Crystal. Innocent, in fact, is towards the pit, but the Deagles, they're doing so much work here, and now Mouse and Sparrow up against 2, and 2 of them have got the Deags.
Spiro is still locking down the site, but look at Crystal's positioning. Such an easy frag, and so now Spiro has 2 angles to look towards. He's going to try and peek out towards Long, but he misses the shots. And so Crystal finds himself 4 frags to close out the half for Seed. And I really liked that smoke on the site for what it's worth from Seed there, in towards the sort of A box you're seeing on your screen right now, and the close left position. oftentimes people get caught off guard by that spot, so just kind of smoking it out is a fairly good thing to go for, to kind of try and isolate the player in towards pit, and that got themselves a couple of entries they really needed to gain ground towards the site, and so a 9-6 half a seed, they should be fairly happy with that, all things considered. Sure, they could have gone maybe a bit more after having such a strong start, but they're certainly going to be the happier of the two teams heading into the half. And by the way, also want to point out, I was saying how Mihu and Maus, so far in this qualifier, they've been easily the best two players for Kinguin. Well, that's continued here on Inferno. They are both leading the way in terms of frags, but it's not been enough for Kinguin to really gain a decent lead so far. Still down 6-9.
Yeah, that is true, and I have to admit it. If one of the players in particular towards Pit Rowland, if he gets the kill on Crystal, I'd say the round's over at that point. I mean, there's no way the players with the Deagles, or to be exact, Lonesome Innocent, can even accomplish anything in that round. I mean, he gets double peaked, and that's how the round goes in favor of Kinguin, but Rowland misses some crucial shots right there, and it's not the first time, you know. Remember that second round where Rowland wasn't able to kill a guy that wasn't even looking at him? That, I'd say, was also quite important to sort of making the scoreline what it is right now. So Seed on the CT side on this second half. I wonder if they're going to have a good start. Well, Speed apparently will, as he does take down Mouse, but Capper replying with a kill of his own, so it's not over just yet. The terrorist, there's still 4 terrorists up against the 4 CTs, and the T side have slowed down things quite a bit, but apparently, as you might take a look, there are some people who might apparently try to push your apps, to be exact, Capper.
Yeah, Kinguin themselves, though, have 2 sets of nades, so that's something to watch out for as they group up towards the B-bomb site. Innocent, holding fairly aggressively, decides to fall back after taking a tiny bit of damage. He did certainly spot out a couple of players, but he did not see the bomb, so Seed are not willing to commit a second player to the B site's hold. So instead now Kinguin will line up their nades going over the top. You see them being used up, and Seed will finally attempt to rotate over, but you can see Innocent stuck behind a smoke. Might just have to concede the bomb plant here. There's really nothing Seed can do, so they're going to have to play for the retake with the defuse kit, of course, in the hands of Dennis. So they have a little bit more time to work with, but they need to find those frags first, and that could be the most difficult thing. With Kinguin having 2 players towards Banana, that's the real important position for them to hold on to, because they can watch towards the bomb fairly easily here. As Spiro already gets that first kill, Zane going to try the trade, and he does find it. And now Mihu could be in trouble, but there goes Kappa helping him out, finding the second headshots. And so it's all up to Dennis, 1v3, and he's only going to get the 1 kill. Very nicely done from Kinguin to take that B site. And after they got that even trade, the push towards B was always going to go their way when you consider Seed only had 1 player there. The 4v4 retake, very, very difficult. And all in all, nice round from Kinguin.
Absolutely. And, you know, retaking, as you just mentioned, is such a difficult task, especially on the B-bomb side, as, you know, 4 of those CTs are both, I think, went from CT, and 2 the other guys, they decided to go through, I do believe that was Church. So it was a valiant effort there from Seed, but in the end, some of the crossfires being set up there from Kinguin, Sparrow, I'm not quite sure why they decided to push through the Molotov in the end. I think he wanted to go for that sort of cheeky peek there, but honestly, just loses a decent amount of HP in an unnecessary situation. And, you know, see, speaking about maybe even unnecessary buys, I guess you could say this one. I mean, I don't know, is it a fact that they might be lacking confidence here on the CT side, that they try to go for this sort of investment? But in my opinion, I'd say it's unnecessary. After all, they're in the lead. Allow Kingman to even tie up the scoreline. You would then have such a good buy, such a good investment on possibly the 19th round. But apparently Kingman, they're still going to be going for this push here. The problem is, though, the players with the pistols are so close by. Innocent, if he just sprays down with the deagle, he could be getting a couple of kills here. But Mihu is doing so much damage here. Sparrow and Rowland, relatively low in HP, but Seed, I'd say try to go for this one. I mean, they got the pistols. They gotta check the angle, though. Mihu, somehow he will be also getting the 4th one. I have no idea why didn't Dennis spot that one out. I mean, was it 4x3 or what on earth was the problem? But that was not supposed to happen. Mihu acquiring some of the easiest kills in his life.
Yeah, Mihu got kind of caught switching between weapons there, ends up with the USP of all things, and then just sprays away, finding 4 dinks up close to get himself those 2 kills. I don't know what the hell was going on there. That was a very frantic round. In the midst of the smokes, though, Mihu reigns supreme, finding himself 4 frags. And so Seed will be forced back down to a full eco. Maybe we'll put a bit more sense into this game now, and it looks like we will, because Seed have stacked towards A, but Kinguin have walked on towards B. So this should be a fairly standard round, although we did just see what the USP could sometimes do. Mihu showed us that the USP can have its successes, but retaking the B site shouldn't be an option. So Seed, they take a gamble, it doesn't pay off, and I'm sure they'll be much more focused on the upcoming gun round, as Spiro himself just looks to get some bonus cash with the MAC-10.
Yes, yes. After all, Spiro, he's the first one player to actually make his way on the B bomb site. He clears out the bomb site, sees, okay, apparently no one's here. I'm gonna push towards CT. Sees that, apparently CT's empty, so apparently the obvious decision is that the A bomb site has been stacked by the CT side team, and honestly, if you're Kinguin, you don't necessarily even have to go for these fights, but the SMG players will, and that is understandable. They're gonna try to rack up some money, but they're also going to be dropping at least a couple of their players, but at least Capper is able to clean the house. And the scoreline, is predicted. It's going to be 9-9 here. The Germans will be having an investment. I was probably wondering, if they would not have gone for the force buy previously, they would be having a bit more utility in this round, but heck. They still have a buy here, which is nice to see. Crystal on the glass cannon op means that, well, really, if he's gonna get naded down, that could be a bit of an issue here. But Crystal, he's got to step up here. He hasn't been so hot with the sniper rifle, I have to admit.
We'll get to see if that changes in this round, because he is the only one with a sniper with the AWP into this one. However, it looks like he's not going to get too many chances early on unless Kinguin go pushing through this smoke, and that will be the case. But the flash forces him off the corner, so seems like Crystal will not get the chance for any opening frags. Kinguin themselves, though, after probing towards Banana, after making their presence felt in towards that area of the map, looks like they're going to make their way back towards the A side of things, and that could go their way. You can see Seed in a very non-committed CT setup. Innocent's ready to rotate either way. However, that means that the players on the site itself are going to have to slow things down to allow that rotation to come in time. And so that's going to be the main thing that Seed look for if the push comes towards a site, which it looks like it will shortly. Although again, Kinguin themselves still not really deciding where they want to go. The bomb staying at second mid, 3 players towards Banana. Finally, they will group up around the B bomb site, so that will be the aim for Kinguin. And there's only 2 players there, so let's see if Kinguin, again, with the smokes over the top, can find success as Crystal, the first man on the hold, finds an easy kill.
An easy kill at that, but he's gonna need more, and his team in general is gonna need more. Crystal picking up 2, massive play from him. This could be enough for Seed to win the round. All they gotta do now is the retake. It does sound simple, but even then could be a tricky test ahead of the Seed boys. They're getting ready for it. Flash coming in there. Innocent is, of course, going to be going for the peak right there. And Kinguin, I wouldn't say they have the worst positions in the world. After all, the bomb has been planted towards Banana. Roundo, he's going to wait for the smoke to bloom. He's going to be seeing Speedy right in front of him. Capper with the frag, and Capper with 2 frags indeed. Apparently, I said all it's going to mean that Seed has got to take the retake, and that was not the most successful retake that Seed had ever faced.
And now Seed do run the risk of continuing to be behind in terms of the money. If they are forced to eco every other round, this could very much get away from them quickly. And remember, in my opinion, Seed chose this map not particularly because they're great on it, but because Kinguin haven't been playing it too much recently. They haven't been playing it since the 3rd of September, sorry, not December. That's the future. Yeah, the 3rd of September. So that's a fairly long time ago. Okay, Speedy with the Zeus. Very nicely done to get that opener. And I was about to say, I really don't like Kappa trying to push his way in towards apps like that. There's just no need for it when you know you're up against pistols. So Speedy gets himself an AK to start off the round.
Yeah, it's actually very difficult to be pushing apps. Now, the thing about apps is that it's relatively close quarter combat, so the pistols in most scenarios can really prevail, and not necessarily pistols, Zeus's as well. So now we're actually going to be seeing Innocent ripping off the head of Mouse. So that is already, I'd say, an astonishing start here for Seed, picking up those frags, and they're up against 3 of the T's, one of which is very low on HP. Look at Speedy though, he's with the AK, he's up on the flower pot, he's not gonna be firing off the shots just yet, but Sparrow somehow run and gun from him, and Innocent spraying for the deagle, but look at Zen, he's gonna be the difference maker, picking up one more, and the second one. Rallen is out of the fight, and that's how it's gonna be, huh, Seed? Picking up around just on the back of those pistols. It has been quite the interesting one, at least. At the same time, you know, you can't help to notice the fact that Seed did a very good job on the defense on the back of Kinguin. You know, they had the players rushing onto B. That was a bit of a stack there from Seed, and the players from Kinguin didn't have the most amount of HP, we have to note.
Yeah, and that allows Seed to come out on top, and now they get themselves a full buy, but more importantly, Kinguin haven't really been able to build up that money. It's in fact Seed who have more cash in the bank. So this round 21 could be a very decisive one. If Kinguin lose this, they might just be forced back down to those low buys, all thanks to the eco win from Seed. Couple of nades down Banana, don't do any damage because the rest of Kinguin are much more focused towards the A side of the map. See, both teams do have an AWP in hand, and Innocent here jumping. This could be a fair risk if, like, an AWP peeked in towards him. I'm not sure he'd be able to get to safety that quickly. Boost comes out towards mid. Crystal looking for the entry, and there we go. A little bit of creativity. Crystal gets himself that opening pick, and Kinguin now might be having second thoughts about hitting that A site, knowing that Crystal is there with the AWP. But just as I say that, they will be lining up the push anyway.
Looks like it. Looks like Kinguin is going to be doing just that, but I think before they go for the straight-on push, beforehand, they still got to regroup here. They are here towards middle, which is nice and all. Capper is up and up, so he's going to be, I'd say, an important piece of this Kinguin offense right now. Molotov's being prepped up here by the side, and in fact, that's going to force out Crystal out of the open. He's gonna get wrecked there by Miku, and now all you gotta do now is continue on with the push here, Kinguin. They have to hurry up though. After all, Seed is coming in with the retake, and they're doing such a great job at picking up frags. Miku with another one, and now Zen. I don't know, Zen. He might try to go for this one, honestly. I wouldn't blame him. But after all, it is a 1 versus 4, and those are quite difficult in a game of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, it's probably worth saving considering Spiddy doesn't have the money, and if he does save, the rest of the team should be on a buy. But I just want to point out, Kinguin have not been playing this map very often recently, and yet you see them have the nades set up. That molly was so good over the top there. Like, Crystal is not going to expect a molly to just be landing on him, and it makes it really difficult because in that split second, Crystal has to make a decision. Does he want to hold long in the midst of the molly, or does he want to fall back? And so instead, he decides he has to stick around, and he ends up losing his life for it. And so Kinguin, they're looking fairly impressive here on Inferno. Maybe this is a little sort of ace up their sleeve, if you like, that Seed were not expecting here, because if Kinguin win this map, heading into Mirage, I'm going to have Kinguin as big favourites. They've looked so good on Mirage in their recent form. And so Seed are going to have a bit of work to do here on Inferno to make sure that 2-0 possibility is not there for Kinguin. Either way, the save means Seed get a full buy together. So they are certainly not out of this just yet. Full buys for both teams. And another, of course, very important round heading into the latter stages of this map.
No, you can't say Seed is out of this one just yet. After all, they have an investment also in a round like this. Things could really get tricky if they do end up losing this round. That would mean that Kinguin would have acquired 12 rounds, and I mean, if Seed ends up losing this one, they might just have to eco, and that is a very, very scary prospect on the second half. And I'm quite surprised, you know, Crystal, he does go for the peak right there. I honestly don't blame him, you know, he tries to go for a play. His team needs to get something going for them, and an entry frag could have been just what the doctor ordered. But the thing is, though, I'm not quite sure where Innocent was, and Innocent now is gonna drop dead, so this defense is looking lackluster from Seed.
Yeah, Crystal doesn't find any success with his AWP, but Spiro certainly does on the T side of things, finding himself an easy entry. And so Spiddy is holding on the off angle, but he's going to have to hold against plenty of players. There's the one and the second kill, and Spiddy looks for a third, nearly finding it, but Miku will not go down. Instead, Mouse finds the headshot, and so now Dennis needs to hold the site. There's the one kill, but Spiro comes in for the trade. Miles and Spiro both find doubles to leave Zane all alone 1-on-2. He's going to make his way back in the midst of the smoke, but Spiro yet again finding fairly easy shots, but he's landing the shots consistently nonetheless. And so now Kinguin, with the 12-10 lead, have forced Seed back to an eco. That round light there could be the decisive one, and Kinguin, you can see, are more than aware that Seed will be on an eco. They've gone for 2 Mac 10s ready to win this round in style, although they will have to be a little bit worried of the Zeus of Spiddy, because that did work out for him in the recent round, but not expecting to see them push apps this time, considering they saw this Zeus previously.
They might. After all, Capper, all he's got is the Zeus and Speedy. He will be getting that frag in the end somehow. I mean, I did mention the fact, Capper, he only has the Mac 10, so that's not a big loss after all, but they're gonna try to push down Sparrow. This is a bit risky though, but at the same time, even though they're pushing towards the sort of second mid, the bomb side will be planted on the B side, and the thing is though, Sparrow, he might just get overwhelmed here. Look at the amount of CTs here. He needs the backup, and the backup might come in that Mac 10 there. Miku also helping him out, so they're not going to be recovering the op here anytime soon. But that was a nice idea, I'd say, from Seed. They do abandon the B bomb side, but at the same time, they're trying to push down this player who is alone there towards the T ramp. So if they push him down, they get the frag, they might even recover an op. That was a nice try there from Seed, but the thing is though, the players from Kinguin were very quick to help out his buddy, and so no op will be saved. But oh boy, speaking about important rounds, this is gonna be it. This is a very important round here for Seed. If they end up losing this one, things could really get tricky for them on the second half, because they might just run out of money, in which rounds are of great importance.
Yeah, and again, no AWP for Seed. Crystal will not have the chance to try and go for any aggression towards Banana with that AWP. Instead, he's playing over towards mid. In fact, the flash goes over the top here. Crystal did blind a couple of players, but good to see he does not commit to the peak, because there were plenty of players waiting for him, including, I believe Spiro was focused towards mid with the AWP, but now he's back towards Banana. Not the best smoke from Seed. There is a gap in the right-hand side, but they won't go peeking. So shouldn't see too much at the start of the round. Again, we've seen Kinguin, for the most part, be very willing to go slowly into these rounds. They haven't particularly gone for any fast plays when they know they're against a full buy. And to be fair, in this round in particular, that I think is certainly a good decision, because Seed, you can already see, don't have that much utility left. And with a minute on the clock to try and hold off Kinguin for a long period of time, they are going to have to rely more on just holding angles and that individual aim. And that could be a difficulty for them. Kinguin still just spread out. We're not going to see any commits to start the round here. 53 seconds though, so the Polish team will have to make a move sooner rather than later.
It looks like it's gonna be right now here. Kinguin, they still have some time, to be honest. Like 40 seconds is enough time to actually rotate back towards the B bomb site, but I think they're still gonna fancy their chances here, especially towards Arch. Look at the majority of the players are towards Arch. I think we're going to be seeing something we haven't seen in a while. That's going to be a B split here towards the B bomb side. No one's really watching CT, but now the players, they got to be wary about this sort of push that might happen. Innocent, he's now hearing the footsteps. He's positioned himself nicely though, but he will be getting the one frag, but not any more than that. Now there's Lonesome Zen behind the bomb site. Yet again, he's towards the quad, but somehow he's not going to be getting that frag. The bomb will be just about planted. And at least Speedy makes things doable now for the CT side.
Here comes Rallen holding the angle, but he goes down. This has all gone falling apart for Kinguin. It's only Mihu left, and he doesn't find that frag. And that also gives away his position. Crystal taking a bit more punishment. But the smoke comes in, and now Mihu's going to flash through. The defuse is not being stuck, but Mihu has to go aggressive now the defuse comes through. Mihu needs to go now. He needs his frag, and he finds it! Lining up the headshot through the smoke. And now it's a 1v1. Crystal fakes the bomb, and Mihu is aware of it. Great 1-on-2 by Mihu. He manages to find the frag through the smoke. And that was the all-important one to make the clutch happen. And so now the Polish team look very much in position to take this map away from Seed.
We also got to mention one crude, I guess you could say crude statistic here on the first matchup right here. Seed started out the first half with a scoreline that was helping them out. It was 9-6. But amidst the second half, they've only been able to acquire one round. One round on the City side isn't gonna cut it, Seed. You need to get more rounds here because heck, someone I'm gonna add, you're on the favorite side, so you gotta be stepping up here. You should be good enough to at least acquire, those last 6 rounds. But apparently they're struggling here, Seed and Kinguin. They're having quite a ride here, I'd say, on Inferno. On the terrorist side, nonetheless. That was probably the one closest round we actually got to see here on the second half. It does work out here for Kinguin, and after losing a round like that, if you're a seed, that's got to be heartbreaking because you don't really have a lot of money for making investment. So now they're going to be going for a bit of a partial buy by the looks of it. And will it be enough? That's a question, to say the least.
Zane holding close, does get himself the spray down there. And so Mouse going out into the open by himself does cost him as he goes down. For what it's worth, in terms of talking about how balanced Inferno is, in my opinion, it is just a fairly balanced map in general. Like, I don't think it's particularly CT-sided. I think either side can have success. I think it's much more sort of matchup and team dependent as to how the teams perform. And I think for the most part, both these teams do find more success on their T side. Either way, here comes the dink from Crystal, but he will be burnt alive. Burnt to a crisp, you could say, by Mihu's molly. Shbidi tries to find a frag, but Rallen dinks him through the box, although Rallen nearly gets caught in the back, but he survives on 1 point of health. A very back and forth round, however, eventually Kinguin managed to close things through, and, well, if one more shot landed on Rallen, that could have been very, very competitive. However, he just about holds on, and so Innocent, the last pole alive for the Seed side, of course, will be forced to save the AK.
Yeah, 5 Polish people are very much alive here on this round, but Innocent, being on the opposition, is gonna try to save his AK-47, which I honestly don't blame him, but the thing is, see, I don't know how we can help him out here. Maybe the double up setup could be key here. I have to admit, Crystal, he hasn't been playing so well on the terrorist side with the up. On the safety side, yeah, he has stepped up, let's be honest, but some of the decisions he has made alongside his teammates, like that one push towards Banana, where he was boosted up on the wall, but for some odd reason, he didn't have anyone backing him up, which was very odd to say the least. And now in a round like this, I'm wondering, could we say the double up setup? I think if there was a double up setup, the second up would probably go in the hands of Dennis. That's what I'd be saying. Dennis is, I guess he's kind of thinking about it. I mean, it's a possibility, but looks like he's just going to be purchasing the M4. And honestly, I'd like to see Crystal maybe try to get an engagement. I mean, you're already so late in the second half. If you try to go for some sort of play here, someone of the individuals has to step up here from Seed. If the individual play works out, I mean, heck, you might just be able to survive in the second half on this map in general for a bit longer. But beforehand, something has to happen, something has to change up, and I guess that nade works out here for Seed, and they might be getting one more frag here. Zen with a refrag, and that is already a good start here. Speedy getting a frag as well. Now this is nice to see.
Yeah, round 26 does not look like it will be the decisive one for Kinguin, because Seed managed to find those opening fights their way. And you kind of saw there, Zane towards Banana, finding that nade, and that's something you will see kind of fairly often. The CTs can just nade down Banana, and it's such a tight position that it can do so much damage. And you see it working out in this one. We are going to see Spiro boosted up, so that's something to watch for here, but he won't be able to spot anyone out because Seed are playing fairly safe. 50 seconds left, Spiddy will have to extinguish the flames, but that keeps himself safe and allows Crystal to rotate over. So with 42 seconds left, Spiro's going to go for the peak. This is an important fight, and Spiro comes out on top. All of a sudden, there's a chance in the round, but they're still going to need 2 more entries to take the A site. And you can already see a third player rotating over. It's Zane who's going to come in for the flank. Oh, Spiro's caught with terrible timing. Just as he turns away, Zane comes in, and despite Zane's 13 points of health, he still comes out on top to leave Kappa in a 1v3. And that nade nearly gets the kill, but Dennis comes in from behind. So Seed keep themselves alive here on Inferno, but they still have to deal with a buy.
After all, Kinguin was the team that won the majority of the rounds here on the second half. You know, they were the ones to pick up 9 rounds here, so money is not going to be an issue here for the Poles for the time being, though. If they end up losing this round, that could become a bit of a scary factor for the Kinguin side, not having a decent amount of money to actually invest in the second half while as the game is coming to a close is quite scary. And again, we're going to be seeing Crystal with the op, but with that op in place, he's actually now going to be towards that A bomb set. I believe he was towards A the round previously, as on the B defense we saw Zen and Innocent. And now Kinguin, looks like they're going to be slowing down things quite a bit. And honestly, I don't blame them. Especially in a round like this where they should realize the fact that Seed is going to be having still a decent amount of utility. And speaking about utility, Capper is actually going to be picking up 2 frags. I think there was a Molotov deployed towards Apps, but yet he still goes for that sort of push. I have to admit, Kinguin, now they have a very good chance in actually taking this round right here, right now.
Remember, this is Seed's map pick, and heading into Mirage, which is Kinguin's map pick up next, I am favouring Kinguin massively. So if Seed cannot pull off this comeback here, they certainly run the risk of going down. How is Innocent behind Mihu? He gets himself a free kill in the back, so certainly still competitive. As we go back to a 3-on-3, Dennis is playing this off angle. They haven't spotted him out yet. That could be huge here. Dennis is still waiting. He's spotting them towards the site, finally pulls the trigger, but he's forced to fall back. But Mouse gets a great headshot in mid-air. And so here it is. Seed will be forced to retake 2-on-3. Innocent trying to find a headshot, but he's on just 14 points of health. Rallen goes for the peak, and that leaves Zane all alone. The Finn is going to have to be cold-blooded here in the 1-on-3 clutch to keep his team alive. Here we go. Zane goes aggressive. There is the first headshot, but he still needs 2 more. Making his way forward, Zane trying to find another fight, but Spiro is there, holding true to make sure Kinguin steal this first map away. A 16-11 scoreline. And as I was saying, heading into Mirage, I've got to feel like the Poles have a great chance at taking this series 2-0.
And how couldn't it be? I mean,